folks. I just got the tedder finished, the final assembly of the tedder here. And before it gets too dark and before it possibly rains, I'm going to go ahead and do this walk around initial overview of the tedder, and try to explain a little bit why I picked this tedder. I know I've already touched on that in some of the previous videos, but I'm going to talk about the tedder. Let's go around and show you some highlights on it, and that'll probably be that until I get it out in the field and get some hay down. So anyway, just to make note on the final assembly here, I requested to finish that myself. I just knew it would make it easier to haul it home that way, because everything was already packaged and secure and all from shipping to start with, and I was 3 hours away and had to haul it on the gooseneck trailer. So the dealer didn't stick me with doing that. I actually requested to do that, so he let me do that. So no issue with the dealer on that. That was my request, and that's just what I did. So this is a Pequea. I don't know. I can't pronounce words too good. I hadn't heard anybody else pronounce it, so there it is. It's the TT4100, and it is a 4-basket tedder, and it is a 18-foot working width. So it's a little bit wider than some of the others out there on the market. A lot of the others stop at 16 to 17 foot width on a 4-basket tedder. I don't know that it is the widest. Krone may also have a 18-foot tedder. But one of the decisions on this, going with this tedder, was that it was an extra foot. But anywho, like I said earlier in another video, I looked at 4 different brands of tedders. This was one of them, and I was leaning heavy towards the Coon, the 5202. I did look at a 502 Coon also, but it's a little lighter duty than the 5202. But my initial thoughts is the 5202 Coon looked pretty heavy, but this was by far heavier built and looked like a better design to me. I also looked at the Massey Ferguson. I think it was a 1635 was the model number on it, because I thought, it'd be neat to go with a Massey Ferguson tedder, but there was some things I liked about it and didn't like. It had the bigger tires like this one, right here in the middle, 2 tires, but it had the smaller tires on the end, which I guess would have been okay. But right here at this pivot on this wing, down in here, used a U-joint, where this uses the finger joint, which Coon also uses a finger joint, but it's a little bit smaller diameter, but it has longer fingers, say, or teeth. But I liked the finger joint, so I wanted to go with that. But again, like I said, when I seen this tedder, it was kind of off in the corner of the lot, and I really didn't know what the status of it was. I didn't know if it was for sale or what the deal with it was. But it turned out it was for sale. It was the only one he had there that I was aware of. And like I said, when I first looked at those tedders, all 4 of them were there at that lot. This was by far the heaviest duty tedder on the lot. And what I mean by that is just the beefiness of this enclosure here, the beefiness of these joints, the extra support here, and the tongue. The tongue is the biggest thing. The tongue on a lot of these tedders are nothing but just one flat bar, not channel like this now. And it just looked chintzy and flimsy, and that bothered me. And when I seen this one and how it was a big thick channel, I really liked that. I also liked the fact that the jack, when you hook up, instead of having the jack there for a tire to possibly get into or whatnot, you can move the jack up here. So that was another thing that I didn't see on some of the others. Another thing about this tedder, I think all three of the other brands had a stand that went right back here, so that when the tedder was folded up and unhooked, it wouldn't tip over backwards. This thing's so heavy up front, there's no way it's coming backwards. Like I said, it's hard for me to even pick it up. And that's something I didn't like, because that's just something for somebody to hook up to and forget and drag off and break that or what it's mounting to or whatever. So I like the fact it didn't have that. Now the Coon did have one hydraulic cylinder. The Massey did too, I think, that operated the wings. I guess that would have been okay. It'd been less moving part, less things to go wrong. But this is a dual cylinder setup, and you have this cylinder here for the tilt, which they all had this now, the hydraulic tilt, so you don't have to jump in and out and crank it up and down every time like my last one. Again, this tedder appears that there's like a TD 3418 in the Frontier brand. So apparently this company makes that for John Deere or the Frontier brand, however that works. So there are some of these under the Frontier name. Yeah, another thing that got me on this tedder that I liked was, if you've seen in my other video with it folded up, how the wings fold up past center. So when these wings fold up, they come up here and almost, the two guards on each end almost touch up here at the top. And what that does is it keeps that tire and these tines from sticking way out for transport, going down the road or going in a narrow field or gate or whatever. I liked that. A lot of the others, they stopped, just almost straight up and down. And they also had a locking mechanism with a rope that you had to use. This did not have that. This was just a little bit more simpler, beefier design. Like I said, it has the big tires on all four wheels. They are a 4-bolt wheel and tire instead of like a 2-piece thing or a lawnmower type style wheel. Has big heavy duty gearbox here. This is all fully enclosed. The rubber dust cover here, or debris cover, is not, it's not attached here where it has to crease when it folds up. This whole piece goes up and down with that, so this little rubber piece shouldn't wear out and crack and tear. So I liked that. The guards were simple here. Some of them have got some elaborate guards now that I thought were almost unnecessary. That go all the way around and whatnot. I mean, hopefully nobody's getting near this thing when it's working, and hopefully the operator, knows what they're doing. But I mean, look, it's good and tight. There's no wobble in the wings. I'm working it back and forth here, and it's tight. Good heavy duty tongue and hitch, like I already said. Storage for hydraulic hoses and your PTO. It is 540 PTO. They do call these the turbo tedder, if you look those up online and whatnot. You got this crank here along with your tilt cylinder. But again, very beefy tedder, very heavy built, and for the price was very competitive to the Coon. I thought it was a no-brainer to go with this over the Coon just because of how much beefier it's built. So this ought to be able to take some rough ground and do well. And another thing, as I researched this brand before I decided on it, they made a move on these gearboxes. It's an interesting story that I liked. The gearboxes used to be developed or made, I should say developed, manufactured in China for this company, and they were getting a high failure rate of those gearboxes. Of course, they didn't like that. So the solution was to pull all the manufacturing out of China, bring it here into the U.S., and now these gearboxes are under better quality control and manufacturing here in the U.S., so they don't have that failure rate that they were having coming out of China. And I highly respected that move by this company. Like I said, I've never had a piece of equipment from this company before. I've seen them at the National Farm Machinery Show. I know they have a lot of hay tools. I've seen their hay rakes around, but I've never had one. And I thought, it was, worth the try to try this company out on this. But I highly respected their move on the gearboxes, bringing the manufacturing to the U.S. Any company that'll do that, I'm almost willing to pay more for something, knowing that it's built here, it's U.S. American jobs, money staying here hopefully, and it's just the whole moral of it, in other words. So that when I seen that, I was like, okay, this company, they're using their head, they're watching this kind of stuff and doing the right thing, in my opinion. So that was a good thing, and I was glad to see that they were doing that, pulling that out of China and bringing it here to correct that problem. So hopefully the end user doesn't have to suffer with a gearbox failure. So hopefully I won't either. But anyway, the other thing on this I liked was how the wheels, you see there's adjustment right here on these wheels, so you can change the tilt of this wheel, which will in turn kind of change the pitch of these baskets here, as I call them, to sling the hay higher or lower. So I may play with that. I may put it on the more, say, aggressive mode. And I also noticed, I put these teeth on. This little piece right here is kind of cammed in here. I showed that in another video. You can see it right there. You can change the pitch of these tines to a aggressive or more aggressive or less aggressive pitch, which will sling the hay higher or lower. So I put it on the more aggressive pitch to sling it as high as it'll go, because I like to get it stirred up and fluffed up in the air, so the air will get up under that hay and dry it out as quickly as possible, because that's the whole purpose of the tedder for me. A lot of people only get a tedder out if their hay gets rained on. As I've noted before, older videos, I take it personal if my hay gets rained on. I don't like my hay to get rained on. I know I can't control the weather, but I feel like, I can control how well I monitor the weather. So, I'm not doing myself any favors by cutting hay riskily on a risky forecast. So, it happens to all hay farmers, but I don't like my hay to get rained on. Period. I know if it gets rained on right after you cut it and certain things, it don't affect it too bad, but I just don't like it. But a lot of people, the hay gets rained on, they want to dry it back out, they pull the tedder out, that's about all they use it for. Me, I use a tedder to speed up drying. And a lot of people do, but I can usually, if I've got good warm weather, I can cut my drying time down by a day. So say I got good thick hay that needs 3 days to dry, If we're pushing 90s and I TED, yeah, I can bail that in 2 days. Um, so that the last tedder I had, the Frontier, the little 2 basket. I when I first bought it, I wasn't planning on tedding hay all the time, and I thought, well, that little tedder will do the job, and I started tedding more and more because I started realizing I could speed up my drying time by tedding everything after it had set. About let it set a day, ted it that evening, let it set another day. You can bale it by that next evening usually. Um, but had I knew how much I was going to use a tedder, um, I would have went ahead and invested in a 4 basket tedder like this initially to cut down on tedding time, because that tedder I had, it was supposedly a 10-foot working width. I don't think it did but about 8 really. Um, but it took almost as long to ted as it did to mow. Now you could scoot on with it, so it wouldn't take quite as long. But this being 18 foot wide should cut my tedding time in half. And I think with these bigger tires and as beefy as this is, like I said, should be able to move on in the field and really get some hay done quick. But yeah, like I said, the Coon was the second on my list, at 5202 Coon. But like I said, when I walked back here in the back of his lot and I seen this one, I thought to myself, man, this thing's beefy for a tedder. Most tedders are kind of flimsy, weak looking in my opinion. Have been over the years. They're making them better now, but this was just beefy. Of course, I thought as beefy as it would be way out of my price range. But, turned out it was very competitive, so I think that's good. Hope that's good. I like the grease joints here. How they're done in these pens. They're like my Rhino bush hog. So you got a grease alumite goes down the center of the pen and comes out in holes around the pen. Gives you just, I think, a more uniform coverage of grease on that shaft and lubricant there. Again, it's got slack in the cylinder here, so this end wing can float up and down. It's got a double. You got a top drum here, and you got another piece under here. So that's good and stout. You're using a tubular, a thick tubular bar instead of a flat bar for your teeth here. And it's just I like how it's built. I think it's going to be a good tedder. I think it's going to work out really well. And it looks like they designed it well, and put it together well and all. Both the Coon and the Massey tedder had this piece here, like an additional support piece that went across here. And this one does as well. Of course, this little cylinder's tied to the top. You got a valve here that controls all the cylinders. The tilt cylinder seems to operate first, and then your wings operate. So that's all good. I mean, even got grease alumite on that crank and everything. But yeah, I've got it here today. I got it put together. It's already greased very well. I ain't seen anywhere I need to add grease. Everything looks pretty well greased. I'll probably grease it again after the first use or two, just to make sure everything's got good lubrication. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to show it to you guys and kind of tell you why I chose this one over the other brands. You know, while I was there picking this one up today, a guy did buy a coon and drove off with it. And you know, it wasn't a bad tedder. It didn't look like a bad tedder, and probably been fine. It's just I really like the beefiness of this one. I really like the larger tires. Um, and you know, if the price point hadn't been where it was, I'd probably be standing here reviewing a coon 5202. But the fact is, this in my opinion was the most bang for the buck, and I hope it proves out to be that way. I look forward to getting it in the field and seeing how well it teds. I mean, I don't see any problem with it. You know, it's very tight. You know, they all move. Just there's hardly no play in this. It's tight, so that's good. Which, I mean, it's brand new, but we'll see how it wears over time. But I mean, it's even got a big cross piece under here to support this. I mean, it's just well supported and beefed up. A lot of good bracing. Looks like all the welds look really pretty and good. You know, they've had Teflon tape on all the plugs here, look like. You know, I don't get excited about many pieces of equipment, but I really like how this company has done this on this tedder. And of all, it's just a tedder, I know. I mean, it's not like it's the most major piece of equipment on the farm or the most expensive, but it still has a vital role in my haying operation, and I expect it to hold up well for what I paid for it. So I've got high hopes for it. But that's just a walk around review. I didn't see many videos on YouTube regarding this tedder. I've seen some of it in action, but I wanted to get a video out there, an in-depth, detailed video of this tedder, and not just operating, but just, you know, walking around it here and showing it to you, and all the little things that I look for when I'm looking for a piece of equipment, and what I weigh into my decision as to what I'm going to spend my money on or not. So yeah, so there you go. The TT4100 turbo tedder, and there it is. I don't know much else to say about it right now. I will report back to you about it when I get it in the field, which won't be long, and let you know how well it did. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments about it, you know, post them below, and I'll get to them as I can. And like I said, I know several of you might be looking for a tedder, might considering this brand, so I want to try to keep y'all informed on how it does as we start into hay season here. And you know, like I said, I try to be honest on my reviews, so if I have any trouble with it, you're gonna find it here. But I highly don't expect to have any with it, but we shall see. Again, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. See ya.